You can see a pile of books on this table. We're going to pick 3 books to talk about today's video, and that is how can I learn English with the help of stories? And where can you find the best stories? With the help of the books. So the 3 books we have in the series are novels, or you can say they are story-based book. The first one in the category is Who Will Cry When You Die? The book is from Robin Sharma and it's mostly a self-help kind of genre. The second book is The First Phone Call from the Heaven. The writer of the book is Mitch Albom, and it's a novel, it's a fictional story where the writer is trying to convey a storyline here. And the next one we have is Write Me a Love Story from Ravindra Singh. All of these books have a very significant role to play in this video. So make sure that you watch it till the end to understand how can I learn English with the help of story. Before we talk about the rest of the video, I want to talk about the sponsor of this video and I want to give a little bit information about them. It's about Cambly app. It is the only app where you can have one-to-one interaction with the trainers from native countries like US, UK and Canada. Now, there are a lot of students out there who find it difficult to speak in English confidently and to write it confidently. They can understand English, they can read English. Now, Cambly application is a place where you will find trainers who are going to understand these problems and they're going to have a very one-to-one interaction with you without even judging any student. So make sure that you check out all the information by the end of the video about the sponsor, and let's get back to the current video. Step 1 in this video is to know what kinds of books can I read to find good stories. You need to pick a novel for this. You need to pick books which are based on fictional characters. And the second most important thing in this is to pick a book which has a lot of dialogues in it and every chapter is a new story. Now the reason to pick a story with a lot of dialogues in it, because you can easily understand one sentence at a time and most of the cases you will actually find dialogues in there. It's easy to understand these dialogues, it's easy to remember this line of communication. Now once you have picked a nice book to start this journey of learning English with the help of the story, the next step in this series is how can I use it for the betterment of my language. Now, in order to speak fluently and write effortlessly, I'm going to show you what exactly you are going to do with this book. So the process starts with the point itself where you start reading this book line by line. So the first one we have, on the day the world received its first phone call from heaven, Tess Rafferty was unwrapping a box of tea bags. Now this word over here is something which I find a little difficult to understand. So I'm going to write down this word on the top and that's going to be the first word in this whole page. The next one, she ignored the ring and dug her nails into the plastic. Now dug is definitely a good word. The logic here is very simple. You may or may not know the word and it's perfectly fine. Every word which you feel has an essence to it, which you can definitely use in your later conversations, try to write them on the top of the page. The next one, Drin, she clawed her forefinger through the bumpy part of the side. Now clawed is definitely a good word. Some of you might be aware of it, some of you may not be, and that's perfectly fine. Forefinger is easy because this has to do something with fingers, so I'm going to skip this one. Through the bumpy part. Now bumpy is an easy word, but unfortunately we don't use it much, so I'm going to put it on the top. Finally, she made a rip, then peeled off the wrapping and scrunched it in her palm. Now I find some really good words to talk about tearing apart something, opening something. So I've got words like rip, I've got words like peeled, I have a word called scrunched here, which is definitely an amazing word. So I'm just going to write it on the top. Now, this process is going to be slow. This process needs a lot of patience because we are trying to enhance our vocabulary. We are trying to enhance our grammar through this process. So in a page, if you are able to identify 5 words in a day, then that's enough. Okay, we are trying to learn English with the help of a story because now if somebody asks me to paraphrase whatever I have read, I can easily summarize it and I can say that this whole storyline is about a person who is trying to open a box and there are some really good words used in this. For example, she tried to rip it apart, she tried to peel it off and she was using a knife to unwrap it. Now in this way, I was able to use the words which I wrote on the top in a proper storyline which I got from this particular page itself. So as I was saying, it's going to be a slow process, so give it some time. Don't overdo it. Don't collect more than 5 words per day, because our objective is not to finish this book. Our objective is to collect few words so that I can enhance my vocabulary. Now, that brings me to the second part of this video. I saw a word unwrapping. So I'm going to write this word in front of you to explain a simple point about vocabulary. This is something which I learned back in school, and one of my teachers helped me with the method that can actually help you to learn vocabulary easily. So I have got a word here. Now, if you identify this word properly, unwrapping is a combination of 2 different words. You have un and then you have wrapping. So every word is definitely built from a root word, and it might be a combination of 2 independent words or more than that. Now, when I understand it's a combination of 2 words, I can clearly say un plus wrapping is a word that I have to understand. Now, wrap somehow means, or you can say not somehow, you already know the meaning of wrap is to cover. So I can say wrapping is something to do with cover. And when I say unwrapping, that means I'm removing that particular cover. So this is how some of the words can easily be understood. You have a word un plus wrapping. Wrapping means to cover and unwrapping means to remove this cover. Now, if I have to bring you back to the book here, it says, on the day the world received its first phone call from the heaven, Tess Rafferty was unwrapping a box of tea bags. That means she was trying to remove the cover of tea bags. Okay, so I'm going to put a tick on the first word, because with this method I was easily able to understand what is the meaning of unwrapping, right? Similarly, let's pick out another word. The next word in this series is dug. Now let's talk about the second word in this series, which I have written as dug. Now, dug has to do something with the past tense of the word dig. Now, dig is the present form of the verb and dug is the past form of that verb. Dig simply means when you're trying to make a hole into something, and that is called I have digged a hole into the ground, or I have digged a hole in the floor. You can say that in the floor. Now, I'm using dug because I'm trying to show the past tense of it, and I'm saying that she ignored the ring and dug her nails into the plastic. That means she's trying to intrude it. She's trying to make a hole there. Okay, as I mentioned before, it's going to be a slow process. So don't worry about it, because every word that you're collecting with this process are the words which will be remembered by you forever, and you can easily use them in your speech and in your writing skills. Alright, so similarly, you're going to do the whole process for the other words. Remember, some of the words you might easily be aware of and some of the words you may not be. So in order to talk about the words that you don't know, I'm going to talk about the next part of this video. This method is going to be helpful when we are talking about the words that you already know, or maybe you had a slightest hint about it. But what about the words and what about the sentences which I'm not clearly able to understand? So for that, the method is read it out loudly. Logic is very simple. Sometimes you may not understand the word in that particular sentence, but it's very easy to understand the sentence itself. So what you need to do really here is, if you're not able to understand that particular word, read the entire sentence properly and try to make a rough guess out of it. Try to understand what this whole sentence means. In a way, if you're not able to understand that particular sentence, then try to read more than one sentence of that book. Okay, now please understand here, we are trying to talk about a story, and story can only be built if you read more than one sentence. So the logic is simple. If you are not understanding that particular word, read the sentence. And if it's even not very clear, read the entire paragraph. Because when you read it out loudly, you are doing 2 different things. Number 1, you're listening to yourself, and the more you listen to your voice, the more confident you get. Okay. Number 2, you're trying to understand the pronunciation of a word. If by chance I'm not able to pronounce that word properly, I can check it online and I can work on my pronunciation in that very moment. Okay, so I'm going to show you how this is going to work. On the day the world received its first phone call from the heaven, Tess Rafferty was unwrapping a box of tea bags. And I'm assuming I don't know the word unwrapping. Okay, but when I read it completely, I am understanding that this has to do something with tea bags. Tea bags or a box of tea bags. Now what do you do with the box of tea bags? You either open it or you close it or you take it out from it. Now from there I can understand that wrap simply means to cover up. So I'm assuming this whole situation to be something where there is a box of tea bags and I may have to open it or may have to take it something out of it. Okay, similarly you're going to jump to the next part and to the next part. Okay, now in this whole process, if you don't understand other words, and I am asking you to only collect 5 words on daily basis, if you don't understand any other word, you're going to quickly open your dictionary. With these advancement in technology, with these digital options available, it's very easy to write down a word, find the meaning of it and try to fit that meaning into that sentence again. Okay, you don't have to learn the words, please understand it. You can only understand the meaning of unwrapping when you check it from an online dictionary and you pick or you put that meaning into this word, into this sentence. Only then you will remember the word unwrapping for a longer term. Okay, I'm going to break it down for you one more time. The meaning that you find online, take that meaning and put it into this sentence. Now with that meaning, you will have a backup story attached to it. Next time you want to say that I want to open up something, you can say I want to unwrap it. Okay, because somewhere at the back of your mind you know that unwrapping of a tea bag is a similar situation to anything where I have to open something. Okay, so instead of saying I want to open the box, you can say I want to unwrap the box. And that's how another word is added to your dictionary. That brings me to the next part of this video, and that is how can I work on my English grammar with the help of the story. So far we have talked about vocabulary in all of the above points. Right now I'm going to talk about grammar. Now before you even be in a situation where you want to talk to somebody in English, there comes a point when you have to think at the back of your mind which sentence I'm going to say out loud. Okay, now let me help you to break it down further. Before the sentence is even framing, there is one thing clear at the back of my mind. Do I want to share a story of something which has already happened? That is simply a past tense. Do I want to talk about something that I do on daily basis, or maybe I have been doing for a couple of days now? It's my present tense. And then lastly, I want to talk about a situation which will occur in the future. That's future tense. I'm not worried about other tenses. I want to get my story straight. Am I sharing a story? Am I talking about something that happens every day? Or am I going to talk about something that is going to happen in the future? Whichever part my ideas are going to be, that part I'm going to pick up. And how this will fit into the storyline? Now come back here. Let's focus one more time. On the day the world received, focus on these verbs, received. Okay, the first phone call from heaven, Tess Rafferty was, another word. A box of tea bags, she ignored, another word. The ring and dug, another word, into the plastic. She clawed her forefinger, another word, through the bumpy part on the side. Now all these words which I have identified talks about something which has already happened. That means this whole sentence or this whole story so far is talking about something which has already occurred, So the writer in this part is trying to share a story from the past, an incident that has already taken place. That's why all the verb in these sentences were past tense. So here is the logic. Before you even say what you want to say, understand which tense do you want to choose, which idea you want to share, and then it becomes very easy, because instead of choosing 12 sentences, you need to work on 4 of them. Okay, either it has to be simple tense, it has to be continuous tense, it has to be perfect tense, or it can be perfect continuous tenses. We have almost reached the end of the video, and that's why I want to share this part very eagerly. This is about the revision phase. Now the revision has to be done on daily basis. If you have collected 5 words, you're going to create a table in a diary on daily basis. So you can create day 1. Similarly, you can do day 2 at the bottom. There are going to be 4 categories in that. You have word. Okay, so there comes your 5 words that you have collected on daily basis. The meaning in case you want to write any shorter form of it. The phrase in the book which I was talking about, you will find certain phrases as well. Now, the beauty of phrases is that you can actually start using them right away. For example, I find a word here, I have found a phrase here, I need to tell you something. Now, this is a good phrase. If you are picking up a call and you're trying to say something, you can say, I need to tell you something. And the next one is, leave your number and name, I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Now, what you're going to do is, along with the words that you have collected here, you will write down the phrases here. Don't overdo it. 5 words, 2 phrases, bam, you are in a good position. So you're going to write down those phrases here. Now, last comes the process of using them in your daily conversation. Now, since we have only picked 5 words, it's very easy to create a storyline for this. I've already taught you how to do it. And the next one is that how many times can I use them? So my assumption here is that you should actually do a quick revision of 4 times. You can just quickly open your diary, look into the words, look into the meaning and remember it. And at least 2 times a day, you need to use one word. Okay? Believe it or not, it's very simple. Believe it or not, it actually works. I have done it many times and I want to show you something which is another example of how to remember vocabulary. Right now in front of you there is a book of Steve Jobs by Walter Isaacson, and what I generally do when you reach to the next level of collecting vocabulary, any page or any passage that you read, let's say a couple of them I have read, I'm going to show you another way of collecting words. One way is to do that in the diary. Next one is, which I'm going to show you with the help of this book, Steve Jobs by Walter Isaacson. And when I read 3 to 4 pages, I make a sticky note and I collect all the words which I feel I don't know, or maybe I find them fascinating to use next time. So I'm going to collect them here and I'll paste it at the end of the chapter. I'm going to revise these words couple of times. The reason why I have not written the meaning, because when I wrote them down, I actually wrote them down with the help of the story behind it. Similarly, there are a couple more pages here. You can see some really cool words: uncanny, prickliness, conscious, starker, decisive. You have some here, and I think I might have done it for many more pages in the forward areas you can see. So this is another way of doing it. But initially, you need to start with this method. You need to start with day 1, then you need to start with day 1, and you need to start it with the help of 5 words at prior. Okay? Don't overdo it. It's a slow process. But after 4 to 5 days, you will have a good number of words collected with you. So I'm going to show you a small calculation. Let's say I've collected 5 words. By the end of the 4th day, I'll have 20 new words added to my dictionary. By the end of a month, I'll have 150 new words added to my dictionary. And while I was doing this whole process, I was focusing on my grammar part. I was focusing on the pronunciation of how I can speak, and I was definitely collecting new words. And this is all you need to become a fluent speaker. You need to have a good grammar or correct grammar. You need to have few fancy words in it. And lastly, you should speak them with confidence. So your pronunciation should be fine. Okay? That's how I'm going to wind up this video of how to learn English with the help of the stories and 3 books we have chosen. You can purchase them right away with the link in the description box. Make sure you do it because they are not very expensive books. They're very helpful books. As I mentioned earlier, this video was sponsored by Cambly. So make sure that you quickly look into the multiple options of courses they have and the number of trainers they have available for your one-to-one interaction. Make sure you visit their website and the application to get a better understanding of it. I'll see you in the next video, and please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button because we need you and I think you guys need us too. So I'll see you in the next video. Till then, have a good day.